This year marked a profound test in relations between the strongest of allies. The administration of U.S. President Joe Biden chided, often harshly, the government of Israeli Premier Benjamin Netanyahu for Jerusalem's handling of its war against Hamas, and specifically the toll on the Gazan civilian population and humanitarian workers.
I think what he's doing is a mistake. I don't agree with his approach. I think it's outrageous. So what I'm calling for is for the Israelis to just call for a ceasefire, allow for the next 6-8 weeks total access to all food and medicine going into the country.
To win this war, we must destroy the remaining Hamas battalions in Rafah. If not, Hamas will regroup, rearm, and reconquer Gaza. And then we're back to square one. And that's an intolerable threat that we cannot accept.
Mr. President, do you think it's time for Prime Minister Netanyahu to do more on this issue? Do you think he's doing enough?
No.
It's been 20 years we haven't gone back in. Because you all know and understand that the international community, including friendly countries under enormous domestic pressure because of the propaganda that's leveled against Israel and against them, not to come back. What is their message? End the war. And so when we want to come back and resume, we'll pay an exorbitant price in many fields, including in the lives of our men. To come back, it's not just a military question. It's a military, political, strategic question.
Despite the tensions and a disputed withholding of select weapons transfers, the White House largely continued its support, rejecting multiple attempts at the United Nations Security Council to force a permanent ceasefire without guaranteeing the release of the hostages still held in Gaza. While military-to-military coordination remained strong, the policy end did not. Netanyahu defied the White House's demands not to invade the southern Gazan city of Rafah, Hamas's last stronghold. And, even more consequentially, hours after Biden publicly called for an Israel-Hezbollah ceasefire, Netanyahu ordered the assassination of the terror group's leader, Hassan Nasrallah, leading to Hezbollah's collapse. It even led to praise from Biden.
And I can tell you, the United States had no knowledge of or participation in the IDF action. We're gathering more information. I'll have more to say when we have more information.
You say you support Israel's decision to defend itself. Do you support what they did today with the strikes in Beirut?
We have to get more detail. I don't know enough to answer that question.
But that event, which led to Israel gaining the upper hand in regional affairs, was indicative of a wider disconnect. While largely supporting Israel abroad, the Biden administration was slow and often unwilling to condemn anti-Israel and often outright anti-Semitic activities on American college campuses and in the streets. And while hostage family members spoke at both the Republican and Democratic national conventions, and an expected tsunami of protesters turned into a drip, it became obvious which party felt that backing Israel was a politically winning message. With Donald Trump's victory and the expected return of his pro-Israel policies, Jerusalem seems happy to welcome in a new Washington at the turn of the year. Reporting from the nation's capital, Mike Wagenheim, I-24 News.